Welcome back to Tammy Tuesdays podcast. I'm your host, Tammy, and I'm happy that you're joining us today. We have an amazing guest. I'm super excited for you to hear from her and get to know her a little bit. Nicole Fonovich. She is local here in Arizona with us, and she has done some amazing things in the world of yoga. And she's such a sweet, soft, tender soul, and I just cherish her. I've known her for years now. She was with me in my business for the magazines. And now she's going to be our guest here. So I'm super excited. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
You might want to move that a little closer.
Okay, great.
So we can hear you better. There you go. So I'm so excited because since I've gotten to know, we met, it was about almost 4 years ago. It was a long time ago.
Probably 6 because we
Is it
haven't.
that long?
Yeah, because we did a 5-year contract and then we haven't been under contract for at least a year, if not more.
Wow, that's wild.
Yeah, could have been 7 years ago.
That went fast.
Yeah. COVID.
I know, right? The time warp.
Yeah.
So the thing that I love about you when I met you was just your sweet, kind energy. You have such a soft energy about you. And that's one of the things I fell in love with you. And so the fact that we partnered for so long was so nice. And speaking of COVID, it was interesting because, I want to back up before we get into this, but I'll just say this. During that time, you had such a unique business that I think you were one of the ones that got to flourish, which was such a blessing and so needed in this world. So for that, it was really fun to be able to watch you and see that happen. But I want to back up a little bit because I want myself and everybody listening to hear a little bit about you, not about what you do, but who you are. So tell us kind of a little bit about your background, why you're doing what you're doing, what you're passionate about, your whole story.
Okay. I'll do the Cliff Notes.
Yes, Cliff Notes for sure.
So born and raised in Chicago, Illinois, which is where I'm from. I was raised by my great aunts. I was really lucky enough to have had them as my guides, being straight from Italy and getting that experience of family coming together and cooking and gardening and a lot of family time. So that was kind of my background of growing up. And was lucky also to be able to then move up to the suburbs of Chicago to attend one of the better schools in the Chicagoland area.
Nice.
And coming from Chicago, this was a really huge opportunity for me. So I took advantage of my education and pursued as much of it as I possibly could. So I decided to go originally for international business right out of school and gave that a shot with Spanish as my minor.
Oh, nice. I minored in Spanish.
Okay. All right. So that was originally my dream. And then things kind of changed and had a breakup with a partner and ended up leaving school over it. And was working as a waitress because I had done that always as a second job. I should also mention my parents had a company as well. So I am a third generation entrepreneur.
Oh, I love that. Well, I was going to say something too. I have to interject. I always say this. My husband and I always say, and I feel strongly about this, that everybody at some point in their life should be in the service industry. Mm-hmm. So the fact that you waited tables is huge. It gives you a much deeper appreciation for people that serve you. I tell my boys that you got to be in the service industry. So I just wanted to say that. Yeah. But keep going. Yeah. Entrepreneurship. I love it.
Yeah. Reminds me of a story of a friend I met in Japan. She was in medical school, and in other countries, they send you to other countries to work, and she was cleaning hotels.
Oh, wow.
So, and they learn a lot of beautiful qualities as a result of that service that you mentioned. Mm-hmm. And that's something we don't have here in the States.
Yeah, that's cool.
But you just picked up on that right away. And I didn't know that's what I was doing. But
right.
And my dad's like, you work for the family business. Why would you go wait tables? And I wanted my own money outside of the family business.
Yep.
And I loved food and I loved serving people. And I had regulars that loved me, and it was just great.
Oh, I get it.
So I ended up deciding to go back to school, learned federal financial aid, which was my prior career. I learned that working for my parents because they did heating and cooling, electricity and refrigeration, and had a company my entire life, but then had a trade school that they started when I was in my early teenage years and had schools throughout the Chicagoland area and graduated men and women in the trades, heating, cooling, electricity, and refrigeration. So I had learned their accounting and bookkeeping and federal financial aid program and ran those schools for a number of years.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and then I ended up putting myself through both my undergrad and graduate programs, working full-time in the financial aid offices at the schools that I attended.
Oh my gosh, you were fully intertwined.
Fully intertwined. So I went to undergraduate and graduated with a leadership and advocacy degree from a small liberal arts college in Evanston, Illinois.
Okay.
And there I worked full-time in the financial aid office. And then right out of there, I transferred out to Marquette University in Wisconsin. And I worked in their admissions office doing federal financial aid, helping the incoming freshmen and their families navigate that system, doing orientations for the university and big public speaking nights and answering all the questions as it relates to financial aid.
Right. Were you always this driven to just go get it?
Yes.
So just like ever since you were young, you were like, I'm just going to go.
Yes. Always like 2-3 jobs.
Do you have siblings?
I do. My only sibling passed away during COVID.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. But so you did, it wasn't just you.
Right.
You had a sibling growing up.
She always said she wasn't as necessarily driven as me. She worked for the family business as well. And after my dad's passing and so forth, she ended up coming to work with me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So she was my accountant.
Okay.
And Nicole and Yoga and Holistic Wellness is actually my third business.
Oh, wow. See, well, like I said, you're a go-getter. Right. Entrepreneurship, right?
Exactly. So I right out of undergrad, I got, or right out of grad school, rather. I graduated from graduate school, but before I graduated, I was recruited and relocated out to the Bay in California, and I fell in love with the warmth.
Yes. And you were in cold climates.
I was like, this is terrible.
Yeah.
I wanted out. So I applied for schools all in warm weather states, and California warmly welcomed me, and I was a director of federal financial aid at an osteopathic medical university.
Oh, wow.
Out there for a number of years.
Okay.
And I loved financial aid. I did it for a dozen years. It was my passion.
Yeah, I guess.
Love, right? And
but that's probably what gave you a lot of your business background, is understanding all of that.
Yes.
I mean,
and
that's
working
huge.
for my parents.
Yes.
As well, because I did all accounting and payroll and then the financial aid, and it just kind of snowballed.
Right.
And of course, started answering phones for them and filing when I was 11.
Oh, wow.
Right. We all worked at the family business.
Yeah,
so
sounds like it.
That's how it was.
Yep.
Right? So then my dad ended up getting sick while I was out in California. He came and visited me. I got to show him my dream office and my home that I bought out there. And he had expressed how proud he was of me. And then the next sentence is, unfortunately, I have cancer.
Aww.
And, I didn't really want to tell you. You're out here living, this beautiful life that you've created for yourself. You've done everything on your own. I'm so proud of you, but I have this cancer. So he had expressed that most likely he would die of something, natural causes, before the cancer would ever get him, and not to worry. And, off he went home.
Right.
And my parents were snowbirds, so they always had a second home here in Arizona.
Oh, gotcha. Well, especially we always joke, my husband and I always joke that Arizona, Scottsdale, Phoenix is the most western suburb of Chicago.
It is. Everybody's
from Chicago.
That's why we have Lou Malnati's here, Portillo's.
Oh, all of it.
All the good restaurants.
It's the best. I love it. It's great.
So anyway, I came to Arizona the next holiday. So I had seen him, I think it was Christmas. He came to visit me. And then Easter, I came to Arizona to visit him. And he was like half the size as he
Oh.
was previously. And I'm like, what is going on, Dad? He said, well, I did this trial study and it exacerbated my cancer, and I don't know how much longer I have to live.
Oh, that's terrible news.
Right. So I went back to California, told my supervisor, look, I don't know how much longer my dad has. This isn't something I could just take a leave of absence for. I bring in the money for the university. So I had to find someone else to replace me, train them. Within 3 months, I was able to get relocated back to Chicago. And from the day I was there to the day he passed, 9 months he was in the hospital.
Oh my gosh.
But I got to spend every day with him.
Oh my gosh, what a gift.
What a gift, right? And
what a gift.
Yes, it was a true gift. I got pregnant with my first and only child during that time as well.
Oh, wow.
And it was very inspirational for him.
I bet.
He held on, I think, much longer than he otherwise would have had that not been happening. And I was the first grandchild.
Wow.
His first grandchild.
Yeah.
And it was going to be a boy. And so he was just so excited. And we got to play cards and watch movies and have talks and conversations that we would have never otherwise had.
Oh my gosh, that's so amazing.
Right?
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah. And my family took shifts, 24-hour shifts, and we just rotated shifts. So he was never alone, and we stayed day and night with him. And I felt very honored to be able to do that. But it spiked my interest in holistic wellness.
Oh, okay.
So here I had been doing yoga since I was 20 years old.
Okay.
I should also mention I was born with a degenerative disc disease.
Oh, you're kidding.
Most people don't even know it, but I've had 7 spinal surgeries.
Oh my gosh.
To date, starting at
7?
age 15.
Wow. Are they pretty invasive surgeries?
Oh, yeah. I'm double fused in my neck.
Oh, my gosh.
Double fused in my low spine. And by all standards, I shouldn't be able to be moving like I am.
Wow.
So I am a true testament to embracing Western medicine without my neurosurgeons and physical therapists and all my doctors. I would not be where I'm at today.
Wow.
And then without my complementing it with Eastern medicine,
right?
All my massage, all my yoga, all my meditation, all my acupuncture, all of these amazing Eastern practices complementing it, I as well wouldn't be where I'm at today.
Right, for sure.
So it's something that is what it is. It's there's been many times where I've not been able to move or walk.
Oh my gosh.
And after every surgery I have to relearn those skills again.
Do they think that you'll have to have more?
Oh yeah.
Oh wow. So it's just a constant maintenance.
Yeah. During COVID I had 3.
Oh.
Back to back to back.
Wow.
In a 2-year period. And so knock on wood, I'm hopeful I won't need to have one for a little while again. Mm-hmm. But it is what it is.
So let me ask you this. So this is what I love. Actually, you said it so perfectly, because I so strongly believe this in my core, is that as we have these physical bodies that we live in, and we have to manage the things that come along with that. So there's so many layers to holistic medicine, to medical medicine, things like you're talking about. But the intertwining of the two of them are so, so important, because they both serve a huge purpose to our wellness. And let me ask you this, because most of us as Americans, we grow up and it's, here's a pill for this, here's a surgery for this. I mean, that's just what we came accustomed to, right? But as we've it's so cool, because we've adopted so many more ideologies of other ways to heal ourselves, which is really what I'm all about. But also embracing what we need, because we do need the other side of it too. We really do. So, but when did that really start to come into your life? How did you realize that? Because Americans are not traditionally just naturally drawn to that. So what did that journey look like for you?
Yeah. So I think it was the spark of working at the Osteopathic Medical University, and then caring for my dad for those 9 months, trying to provide him nutrition to extend his life as long as we could, which we knew wasn't long, but also maybe improve the quality of it that was left. And so that really sparked my interest. However, it wasn't until my yoga teacher asked me if I would be interested in becoming a yoga teacher.
Oh, wow.
And she offered me a scholarship.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. And
So you were like, yes.
And at first I was
You're like, what?
I still think back on that moment and I'm like, why is she asking me this? Like it felt, I'd never thought of it before. It never crossed my mind. I never thought of myself ever as a yoga teacher. This wasn't a dream.
Right.
Or anything I planned on.
Okay. So as you marinated on this, what was coming up? Because that's something.
Yeah. So as I marinated on that, I started asking the people closest to me in my life that that I respected and trusted their opinions. And I said, hey, I have this opportunity to present yoga scholarship. I'm thinking about it. What are your thoughts? And my naturopath had suggested, had you checked out Southwest Institute of Healing Arts? And then my acupuncturist mentioned, have you checked out the Southwest Institute of Healing Arts? And then the third person mentioned, I'm like...
They all mentioned the same school?
All mentioned the same school.
Oh my gosh.
And I hadn't been here, but I don't even know, maybe 6 months or something. And I've been practicing yoga my whole life.
Yeah.
So I thought to myself, well, let me go ahead and check this out because...
Something's telling me to.
Yeah. And so I went, checked it out. They told me they have this amazing 2-year program. And it's a 800-hour teaching certification, which means you could train yoga instructors. It's
right.
a much longer program, but it's really good.
Right.
And if you have any special conditions, like me, right, it would be beneficial because you learn special modifications, adjustments and props, like all of these. I could
things that you need.
Things that I need for my practice.
Yep.
And I'm like, sounds pretty cool for me.
Yeah. Right. Well, you know what? I'm going to stop you there too, because I think that's such a huge part of when you do one of your purpose-filled things in life, work, whatever you want to call it, because not everybody calls it work because it's just part of who they are. The fact that you saw it as something that you needed and that's what made you walk into it, that's like gold. That's gold. That's like you pouring into you so you can help others. That's so cool. I love that.
I had no intention on teaching.
Right. But it didn't matter. You got there.
Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately, they made you teach.
You're like, I'm not sure I like that part, but...
In order to get that degree, you got to teach.
Oh, dang it.
Darn it. You know? So that was the only catch, right?
Right.
But when I went to go explore this program, they told me they had this 2-year degree that you could also add on a life coaching certification and a holistic nutrition certification.
Nice.
And my graduate degree is a master's in education. So a lot of teaching, a lot of counseling. It was in higher education administration. Mm-hmm. So it really focused on the counseling aspect of
right.
it. And so the life coaching just complemented that so beautifully.
Oh, yeah,
right?
For sure.
And I thought, okay, so I go home and tell my family, I'm going back to school. And they're like, what are you going to be now? Are you going to go back for a doctorate? I'm like, no, I'm going to get this holistic,
How did they receive that?
Practitioner degree.
Be honest, I'm curious because this is a huge thing that holds people back.
No, I mean, the whole time, I remember because the education degree, my dad was funny. He's like, you might as well go to school to be a social worker.
Oh, boy.
So they didn't go to college. They didn't need to go to college. So if I was going to go to college, I better figure it out on my own.
Right. Okay. So you had to support yourself on that.
Completely.
Which you could handle.
Completely. But then, the choice of doing education or to do yoga, that didn't really jive with their business entrepreneurial
ways.
Style,
yeah.
Right. And, but I just kept plowing forward.
Good for you.
So now I'll back up because even before I went to school, I should mention this, and this will possibly blow your mind. After the birth of my son, my father had passed away. That was a really dark time, but followed by the birth of my son.
Oh, that's great. What great timing, really.
It was a miracle.
Yes.
It was just like such a blessing and light for the whole family. And I think it took us out of that hole.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Right. And so I was able to stay home with him, I'm like, okay, what should I do now? Should I go back to California? What should I do? I'm kind of just reassessing. And I wake up one day and I decide, I think I'm going to write a children's book.
What? Yes, I love this.
So by the time my son was 1, I wrote a children's series where my son was the inspiration behind the series. It's a series where kids are conquering fearful firsts.
Oh,
like first doctor visit, first swimming lesson, first haircut, first visiting mommy in the hospital.
I have goosebumps right now. How many books?
9.
Oh.
And then I translated them into 5 languages: English, French, Italian, Spanish, and Chinese.
I'm covered in goosebumps right now.
Turned them into ebooks and then interactive apps.
Whoa.
Yeah. So I created 45 interactive apps to mirror my book series.
Whoa. You are blowing my mind.
And in that, and then I uploaded all those materials, all that content to 9 different marketplaces. This is when the app market exploded and all digital content was being created.
Right.
So I was really fortunate at that time.
Right place, right time.
And that was the birth of my first business.
Oh my gosh.
And we ended up winning a bunch of awards. My sister came on and did all the accounting and so forth for me. And,
what's the name of the series?
Luca Lashes, which is my son's name.
Okay.
And it's about a boy with magic eyelashes. And when he blinks, he's able to overcome these fearful firsts.
Oh my gosh. I love this so much.
And the apps I created interactive because I was reading books to my son, and my in-laws are in Italy, by the way. So they speak Italian, and they were mailing books in Italian, and we couldn't find anything locally. And so I just created the content that I wasn't able to find.
Right.
That's where the idea came from. And the interactive apps, I embedded all of the sounds associated with those firsts. Like in the haircut place, the scissors and the blow dryer.
Oh, cool.
And it ended up winning awards for kids who had special needs, who needed extra exposure to these fearful firsts.
More sensory.
Yes. So a Mom's Choice Award, Parenting Award, Synopsis Award. I was out in New York accepting an award next to Jamie Lee Curtis when she won her children's book that year.
Oh my gosh, I remember that.
Yeah, I was there.
Wow.
In New York. In fact, I bought my house here in Arizona, sight unseen, while I was in New York accepting that award.
Oh my gosh, Nicole, this is amazing.
Thank you.
I love this. Yay.
Thank you. So I was fortunate enough in Chicago to be on all the morning talk shows there about the book series and radio stations.
So how's the book series going now?
Well, I signed a deal with a company, a very large company that acquired all my materials and distributes them in schools and libraries across the United States in preloaded children's devices.
Oh, you're kidding me.
No. And what's nice about it is the apps, you could toggle back and forth between any of the 5 languages, and they're narrated in each of those languages.
Are they using them for language tools too?
They are.
Oh my gosh.
So kids that are trying to learn a foreign language, it's the sound sight recognition.
Right.
So it's a beautiful way to learn.
What a great tool.
Yeah. I had no idea when I created it that's what it was going to be.
How many languages did you say?
5.
What were the languages again?
English, French, Italian, Spanish, and Chinese.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is so cool.
Yeah. So that's my first business.
Jeez. Okay.
Then when I was in school, I'm like, I got to do something because God forbid, I'm not doing something. So I started an investment real estate business while I was in school and found homes that needed to be regentrified. And that was easy to do while I was in school because I could manage my projects in my own time, right? And still complete all my work and be in school full time.
And be a mom and run a business and do all the things.
Yes,
all that.
All the things. Oh my gosh! And then I decided to really specialize in meditation and sound healing because these are practices, stillness practices. And during periods of time where I was unable to move, these practices saved my butt.
Oh my gosh.
So I should mention, I manage my condition all holistically. I do not take any prescription pain medication to manage my degenerative disc disease.
Good for you.
Which is huge.
Huge.
Now, after I got out of the hospital and was recovering from surgery, medications are made.
Right.
There's a time and place for them.
Of course. Right? Like we talked about.
Exactly. So without them, I would not have been able to recover from the surgeries. But now I'm able to manage it all holistically, which is amazing.
That's everything.
People think that you're not able to.
Oh, absolutely you are.
You absolutely can.
In the stillness.
So the meditation is one of the things, when practiced regularly, that allows me to manage the pain. Mm-hmm. And so I wanted to learn everything I could about meditation, which is an advanced practice of yoga.
It is. I'm actually reading Autobiography of a Yogi right now.
Yes.
So good.
Yes.
So good.
It is.
Meditation's changed my life.
Yes.
It has changed my life. So you are speaking my language. Yes. I'm new to this, though. You've been doing this. I'm newer, I should say, a few years in, but it's incredible what it does.
Oxytocin is released. Melatonin reverses the aging process.
Yep. Great, right? Bonus.
Yes. DHEA, which is human growth hormone. Mm-hmm. So it speeds up recovery. It helps with any illness you have going on.
Right.
It helps with stress, anxiety, depression, all of the things that we struggle with on a daily basis.
With our human bodies. Yep.
Yeah. And most people take medication to help with that, when in actuality, we could do meditation.
Exactly.
But we have never been given that key. I spent most of my life practicing yoga, mm-hmm. and it wasn't until I went to school to become a yoga instructor was I introduced to this beautiful art of meditation.
Right. It's interesting too, because yoga, people think of yoga as it's a movement of the body, and it is that too, but it's so much deeper than that. The meditation side of it it's everything.
It's everything.
It is self-realization. It is finding your true self. It is finding connection to God, source, whatever you want to call it, love. And it's extremely healing.
Yeah.
I mean, it changes the world, not just you, the world. It's incredible.
So next week, I'm going into my son's school. I've had a program at his school since elementary. I was just there for a half-day mindfulness program, which we do every year. Suicide awareness, social media safety, mindful eating, kids yoga, kids meditation, how to handle anger, changing mindset. Half day, we run a program and service all 725 students. But the principal's having me come back next week and do meditation for all 725 students before their testing.
Oh, that's awesome.
They've used...
This is just his school here?
Just his school here.
Well, that's just the beginning.
Yeah. Now, I have contacted all the schools in the area, valley-wide, offering our mindfulness program and the different services they could pick and choose.
I have some contacts for you that I'll give you that could help that mission.
Perfect. But we're here to support. So anyway, focused on meditation, sound healing. I had to teach in order to graduate, got into the community with my sound healing equipment, which was really heavy. And with this back disability, it wasn't so easy for me to maneuver, but I had amazing classmates that were completely supportive. And they're like, we'll go out with you into the field and carry everything. And then we get to practice.
Oh, yeah.
And we don't have the equipment and you do. And so this will be like the trade.
Yeah.
And I said, yes. So right out of the gate, I did practicums, teaching, and I did sound healing and meditation. I combined these two beautiful modalities that had been such a profound experience for me. That's what I wanted to give back.
Right.
And so by our second year of doing this, my accountant reached out to me and she said, Nicole, you can't file as a sole proprietor anymore. She's like, you have to file an LLC. And so that's the birth of my third business.
Right. Okay.
Nicole and Yoga.
Okay.
Started 7 years ago. We offered 3 services, yoga, meditation, sound healing. And there was 8 of us. All graduates that graduated with me, my classmates. We started.
So you built this with that team?
Yes. Yeah. And then we just kept getting hired. So
Right.
we were in the community teaching, and then got this beautiful account that was year long and had 75 students every Saturday morning doing $5 yoga. And we had sound healers there and different classes being taught. And it was a platform, a space for all of our teachers to really perfect their craft. Right. And a different experience than working in the yoga studios. And I never wanted a yoga studio. I never really wanted to teach.
Right. Little did you know
Right.
what was coming.
So this just ended up snowballing.
Right.
Right. And now, 7 years later, we have 90 practitioners and yoga
gosh.
teachers. 90.
90.
90.
Wow.
And we offer over 40 services
Okay.
under our umbrella.
That's incredible.
Yep, we've been nominated twice, Best of the Desert here in the Valley.
Right.
We've been part of the Gilbert Chamber of Commerce since we started. We work in the Valley-wise behavioral health facilities, providing trauma-informed yoga therapy for their patients, running classes every single month. We work in all the hotels, the Scotts Resort, Arizona Grand, doing yoga, meditation, sound healing for all of their conferences. So last year we did the Yahoo Global Business Conference. We could accommodate groups up to 100.
Oh, wow.
And
And this is a great community. I mean, Arizona really is, it's a big yogi community. So you're getting a lot of, it's great because people that come here, they're very health and wellness focused, and they are also into all different modalities of things. They're open, which is nice. One of the reasons why I love this place.
Yes, I agree. So over the weekend, we get to work with 300-400 people. We get to teach them, introduce them sometimes to yoga or meditation they've never experienced before. And then they return back to their respective states. And our hope is that they go seek, those services out locally.
Right.
But then we also are here to support them via telehealth appointments, which is what we do mostly. And we support clients across the United States.
Oh, cool.
Doing sessions in hypnotherapy.
Oh, wow.
So that's for weight and smoking, nutrition coaching, life coaching, spiritual coaching. That's huge. NET, which is like talk therapy on steroids.
Really?
And so we do a lot of telehealth across the United States, and we are hoping long-term big goal to go global.
Right. You will. I have no doubt.
We will.
I have no doubt.
We will.
I have no doubt. So, okay. So much to digest here.
I know. It's a lot.
No, but that's why I love this conversation, because you're telling me all this and I didn't know all this.
I know. You didn't know I did books and...
No. And so that's why I love what I'm doing right now, because there's so much to be shared. And the fact that you've done so much with your life and have made such a huge impact on so many people. And the reason you've done it is really because you understand the benefits of it for yourself. And that's what's making you step into something bigger, because you understand it. You know what it looks like. You practice it. You live it. It's you. It is you. You fully embraced it.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's all you.
It's embodied.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, that's the key, is that people, they say, oh, I want to do these things and I don't know how to do them. I don't know how to go about it. And it seems so overwhelming, but I'm telling you, the first step is just pouring into yourself and finding out what it is that makes you, what are you passionate about? What really lifts you up? What drives you? Yeah. And the second you're willing to get quiet enough through meditation and listen, your soul is screaming it at you. And the second you can actually start to listen and hear it, you'll start to receive those miracles. And they'll start to just show up in your life. And that's what happens. They just snowball, and it's like the red carpet rolls out right in front of you. It's incredible. Yeah. I mean, I see it. So that's why I love being in the business that I was in before. I met so many incredible people like you that I'd sit across from them and I would hear these incredible stories, and I was moved to tears or just incredibly deeply inspired, that I thought, oh my gosh, everybody needs to hear this. Like, this is incredible, right? I mean, if it's moving me there's so much to be shared, and we all have these experiences that nobody really knows about until they experience it. It crosses their path or whatever that looks like for them. Everything that you've done, I can just feel it in your energy, and I understand why your energy is the way it feels, because it's the way you live. It really is the way you live. It's who you are. And what a gift. So what about your son? How old is your son now?
So he's 14.
Okay. So how does this play into his life?
It was funny because I was just at his school the other day, and he's like, Mom, we arrived early. My car was so full of props that I had to go to the school early, drop all the props off, and then go back home and pick them up because there wasn't enough space in the car for him. So he was my helper. But as we were moving all the yoga supplies in, he says, Mom, make sure you don't talk to my friends.
Typical teenage boy, especially.
Right. And of course, I've had a program at his school since elementary. They all know me.
Right.
So in the class, I said, okay, who took my program last year for field day, for this mindfulness program? And, 5 kids in every class raised their hand.
Right.
And then they're like, hi, Mrs. Fonovich, all of his friends, as I'm walking down the hall. So I don't need to say hi to them.
Right. They already know you.
Right.
Yeah. You're like, everybody just calm down. Yeah, they know who I am. I'm not, it's all right.
Right. Or when I pick up from school, he's like, roll up the window. I'm like this with his principal and all the people that work there. So I chat with him, and he's so embarrassed.
Yeah. Well, that's just called being a normal teenage kid.
Yeah. But he's the real talent in the family.
Is he?
Yeah.
Tell me.
He really is. He's a genius. Of course, what parent doesn't say this?
No, but elaborate.
He literally is a genius.
Wow.
Let's hope he never hears this, because we don't want to inflate him too much, right? Because he probably knows this. But he started. He was singing the alphabet at 1 year old. He started piano at 5.
Wow.
Yep, he's really smart, and I pushed him in school, and so right now he is determined to get a scholarship in wrestling for
that's
college.
Cool. Nice.
So he's over at ACP Middle School and does wrestling there, but he is in wrestling camp preparing to be at ACP High School for wrestling. And that's his life right now.
He loves it. That's his thing.
Oh, yeah. This is his big thing.
Does he still play piano?
He's not taking lessons any longer. He's like, Mom, the other kids don't have to take lessons and practice 10 minutes in the morning before eating breakfast. And I said, so?
You're like, what's your point?
It took him a long time to figure out that the other kids didn't do it. And I let that one go as long as possible.
Good job, Mom.
I know. You're right. So now I can't quite trick him anymore into doing it.
Oh my gosh.
But he'll have that skill forever.
Oh yeah. For sure.
And he sings.
Oh.
Yeah. He's very talented all around. Has a ton of friends. Loves gathering people, kind of like me.
He's a pretty social kid. Real
social. He's already making plans and has them solidified for this weekend. And he started that on Monday. Oh yeah.
Wow. He is a gatherer.
He's a gatherer. Yeah.
Wow.
It's quite often we'll have like 7 or 8 kids in the car, and I know that's not acceptable.
I'm not judging.
To transport them from one house to another house. Okay.
But don't you, but back up for a second. Don't you love that though? Because you're the mom where they pile in with your crew. I mean, it's even though you just have one, it's nice because that means that you're a trusted, comfortable place for them to be, and your son trusts it. And that's great.
Yeah.
That's where you want to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's where you want to be.
Yeah.
So you're doing a lot of things right with his world because he's clearly drawn to it, even though he's like, roll the window up, whatever. He's like, it's cool. My mom's cool. Because you are.
Yeah. Not one day. I always say this. One day he'll think of me as cool.
Of course he will. Well, and he's also, this is one of the things that I love too with parents that are open to spirituality and understanding that on a deeper level. When you expose your kids to that, it's not like a taboo topic. It's just part of the normal everyday thing.
Yes.
It really is. And it helps them because it makes it so it's okay to talk about all the stuff. And there's a lot to it. I mean, we're all on a spiritual journey, whether you realize it or not, you are. Yeah. So either you can embrace it and really dive into it, or you can be afraid of it. And a lot of people are, and that's also okay because they're on their own path. We are all in our own timing.
You got that right.
So it's whatever it is, but it's cool when kids are exposed to it because it doesn't freak them out as much.
So it is part of his life. He's the type of child, he'd come downstairs in the morning and say, Mommy, the energy doesn't feel right in here. Can I hit the gong?
Oh, nice.
Yes.
See, he gets it.
He gets it
already.
And even to this day, he self-meditates. So he has a headache. He's not feeling good.
I love how you call it, instead of self-medicate, he self-meditates.
Yeah.
I'm going to adopt that. I like that a lot.
And in the middle of the night when he wakes up or is suffering from insomnia, he does a meditation. He is like, that's his go-to.
That's cool.
So it's a skill that he has embedded in him. I used to do meditation with him to go to bed at night. We'd hold hands and we would, do the meditation together. And it was just our thing to do together. And I think that's a great activity to do with kids.
For sure.
Because it helps them refocus and reset their central nervous system and they feel great. And then it's an activity you could do together. So
I agree. I do that with my youngest too. He's the one that's very much in tuned. And it's because I really dove into my spiritual path a little later. I was trying to wake up for a very long time and I was missing all of the nudges. But then finally it was like, oh, that's what's going on. Now I understand. So I'm fully in it now. But so I have 4 kids. My oldest is a sophomore in college. So unfortunately they didn't get the same exposure to me and my husband walking our path as my youngest is now. But it's cool because you're right. When you start practicing those things with them, it's safe to talk about the things that come with it because a lot of stuff comes with it, gifts and energy and visits and all kinds of things that can freak somebody out if they don't really understand what it is. So it's a nice gift. And I'm grateful because he does his own meditation too. We have a dream journal because he sees he gets a lot of visions when he sleeps. That's when I get a lot of visions too. And because I'm very intuitive. And so when he has those things, he's now doing a journal because a lot of the things that he sees end up happening. And he's like, oh, I'm like, see, isn't it cool? You can actually see and you're not questioning. It's just what it is. And he's understanding the deeper level of that. And his brothers are watching with a curious eye because they see him do things or say things. And they're like, whoa, how did he know that? Or how did he see that? Or where's that coming from? So it's cool because they're not missing it. Mm-hmm. They've seen me do it and they're seeing their little brother do it. So they're like, okay, there's something to this. So again, it's removing more of that fear and embracing the love around it and letting it be okay and safe.
And sometimes getting quiet, as you mentioned previously, allows us to be aware of those things, to hear things, to see things different. Because as you mentioned, this piece escaped you for so many years, right? It's hard to slow down.
Yep. We're habitual creatures and and it doesn't help with the American culture. This is one of the things that came out of COVID for me and a discovery that I realized big time was that we are breeding workaholics. The biggest takeaway that I had when it came to my children during that time period was the realization around the stress and pressure that they're under at school and that they go to their work day, which is school. And that's a lot of time for a child that's developing, that still wants to be a child, by the way, and play and have fun and be silly and not be working. They have to work to learn. Yes, we all get that, but that's what school day is for. But then they're bogged down with endless amounts of work when they get home. That's exactly the American culture that's established today. That's why I was a workaholic, because you think that it's okay to go and do your job. And then you come home and you keep doing your job. You don't stop to be with your family. You don't stop to rest. You don't stop to have fun or play or just family time. You work more. And it was a big realization for me that I realized, oh my gosh, this is so sad for these kids, because how are you ever going to unlearn that? Mm-hmm. That they're bred that way in our society.
Yeah. I think it's important to lead by example.
Exactly. You have to. That's the only thing you have. And to communicate. I had a really cool thing that happened with my son. He's a freshman this year. And he decided that he was interested in theater, the arts, the theater. And so he tried out for a play, the first play of the year, and he got the part, and he did this all on his own. We had nothing to do with it. He had been in a play when he was younger at one point. Anyway, he auditioned. He did it all by himself. He's like, oh yeah, guess what? I auditioned for the play and I got a part. And we're like, what? Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So he did it, and he did all the rehearsals, and it was, it's a grind. That's a grind of yes, it's a grind. And the second play came around. He did his play and he did an amazing job. It was fun to watch him and see him shine. And he got pressured in by his friends to do the second production because the whole theater group is like, oh, come on, do it again, do it again. Of course, he's like, okay, I guess I'll just audition. Did it. Of course, he got a part. And the rehearsals were about to start. And he came home and he said, Mom, I don't really want to do this one. I don't really like the production. I want a break. This is all happening during the holidays and I want to just chill. Then I said, well, then what are you afraid of? And he said, well, I just don't want to let everybody down. And I said, and this was like a moment for me because I thought, okay, I could be the old Tammy, which was, well, you signed up for it and you got to be held accountable and blah, 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 all the stuff. Or you can live by how Tammy lives today, which is this serving me? Does this make me feel good? Well, I'm going to speak my truth and see what happens. So I told him exactly that. I said, okay, you're afraid to let people down. Well, I got to tell you something. If you're doing this out of obligation, it's not for the right reason. If it's filling you up and it's making you happy, that's the right reason. So why don't you just go and speak your truth? Tell him how you're feeling about it and see what happens. So he did. He went to school. He was scared.
Yes.
He went to school and he was nervous and he's like, okay. So I knew he was going to talk to the theater teacher after lunch. So I texted him after lunch. I said, so? And he said, I'm out. I said, how do you feel? He said, I feel good. So he came home from school and I said, what happened? And he said, well, he was bummed, but he was really fine. I said, don't you feel so much better? Yeah. I said, all you had to do was tell him the truth.
Right.
And I said, and if he said that it's too late, then you would have made the next decision based on the information you got. That's all you can do. Right. Just speak your truth.
Yes.
So anyway, it was just one of those moments where I was like, that's how life should be. And that's how people need to be taught. Children need to be taught to do that.
What a beautiful lesson you taught him. Because wait till, he's in the workspace, right? And something comes up. He'll have that confidence now, right? That lesson he learned, Mom taught me, to always speak my truth.
Right. No matter where it falls, it doesn't matter. Outside of you doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's what's going on in here. And if you can share that and speak your truth, you're going to end up in the right place, period. Yeah. So it was cool. I was really proud of him and he was proud of himself, which is what I really wanted him to see. It's like, you can do this. Don't be afraid. Come from a place of love and compassion and you'll be fine. Yeah. Always.
Yeah. Yeah. It's normal to be afraid because until they have done it so many times successfully and built that confidence, it's just a normal human, response. Yeah. So that's why it's amazing having parents like you who are loving and supportive and encouraging, and they know everything will be okay.
Right. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. It really was it was for him. I was happy that he could really see through it. It was like, okay, this doesn't make sense for you. It doesn't make sense for you. And that is also okay. So again, going back to the workaholics and the people being driven to the bone, it's just, I'm done with that. Yeah. By the way, I'm not doing that anymore. And it's changed my life. And the only time it really changed was the second I went into myself, which was in quiet stillness meditation. That's when everything changed. So when anybody comes to me and says, what are you doing? Why are you different? You seem lighter. You seem whatever. I'm like, have you tried to meditate?
That wakes me up.
That's the first thing I say. Yeah, right. I can't meditate. I said, I used to say that too. But I promise you can. Mm-hmm. And when you do, your life's going to change. So, but again, everybody's on their path, everybody's on their journey. But that's one of the main reasons that I'm doing this is to get that message out there. I feel like there's just not enough real stories of people for people to really say, I can do this. It's not intimidating. I don't need to be a part of the woo-woo world. And I can just, it's my own thing. It's very personal.
Yeah. Well, I think, always intimidated by meditation as well, especially having this back condition.
Right.
It didn't sound appealing to me, Danny. I was like, this is not for me.
I get it.
So when my teacher at the last day of class said, we're going to try something special. We're going to do this meditation. I did the whole eye roll.
Right.
I'm like,
Give me a break.
Right. I'm not going to be able to do this. My back is,
I'm way beyond that.
Right. This is not for me. But she's like, okay, we're going to have you lay down on the ground. Now, this is a yoga studio floor. I'm like, she's going to have us lay on the ground? How long is this? Oh, you'll be down there for an hour. Okay.
Right.
And so I'm laying down. I have a blanket over me, and she's like, just listen to my words. And the next thing you know, the hour was gone and I was somewhere else. It was the most beautiful, blissful experience I had ever had.
Oh, see?
And it was a guided sleeping meditation.
Wow.
The first meditation I ever experienced, luckily, because the seated upright thing was something that I know my back wouldn't be able to do for an hour.
Right.
And I think that's the biggest deterrent for people is it seems unattainable.
Right.
But this meditation that I did go to India with my teacher, he brought it here in 1960. I mean, I went to the source to learn this.
I love it.
I needed to know everything there was about this meditation.
Well, especially if you're going to become a teacher.
Well,
even though that wasn't part of your plan.
I know, right? So, and then of course I had to go for advanced training and learn how to do this method with children. But he brought this method here in 1960. So it actually hasn't even been around for all that long. Yoga is more mainstream.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Meditation, not so much.
No.
So this, because it's a guided sleeping meditation, it's something that everybody could do. So those that are bedridden,
right,
the senior community, which sometimes, that is a fabulous way to help that community.
Oh, yeah.
To provide that tool. And then, of course, everybody that has any kind of condition in which they aren't able to stay seated for an extended period of time. So it's more accessible to everybody.
Well, that's the thing. People don't understand there's so many different ways to do it. There's no one right way. It's what's right for you.
Yes.
And once you find what's right for you, and you and it is called a practice because you never stop practicing it. I mean, you're practicing it till you're dead. You're practicing it beyond. I mean, you just don't ever stop practicing.
Correct.
Because you don't ever master it. It's just practice. You're practicing.
Yes. And they say the benefits are received after 8 weeks of consecutive practice with a minimum of 5 times per week.
Wow.
So if you're looking to start a practice, that's a good goal, is a minimum of 5 times a week.
That's a good tip.
Right. And for the yoga nidra, for example, it's best done right in the morning upon waking before you get out of bed or at night right before you go to bed.
Right.
So it could just be easily added into your routine versus, I got to carve out time every day to meditate. And then you end up not having the time and then it doesn't get done and it snowballs.
That's where the intimidation comes in. They say, I can't, forget it. It's like going to the gym. They're like, I don't have time. I can't. They make excuses. It's like, actually you can if you make it part of your routine.
Exactly. Wake up an extra hour early, go to bed an extra hour early, and you could do this right before you go to bed. And you could use this tool anytime during the day when you're feeling overwhelmed, stressed, headache, unwell,
exactly,
dysregulated.
Right.
This is a great tool to help you reset. And if I would have had this tool, I was in college.
I know.
To help me navigate all of that.
I know. Well, you know what? There's a reason why we experience and learn things when we do, because that's when we're ready to, period. Yeah. That's just when we're ready to.
Yeah. So now it's my way of giving back. Yeah. Because I think the world needs this free tool.
Exactly. It's totally free. It's free.
Right. And it's
gold.
Yeah. It's the key.
It's the biggest gift
to unlock
it exists.
Everything.
Exactly.
So it really helps with the pineal gland and the pituitary gland, which is in charge of like all the hormones for the entire body. And this organ is chronically shrunk due to stress and lack of sleep in this country specifically.
Wow.
And that's where
which doesn't surprise me.
Medical problems come from and our dependency on pharmaceuticals.
Yes.
Right? So if we could learn how to rebalance our bodies, perhaps we wouldn't have such a dependency on pharmaceuticals.
Right.
So I think this world eventually will see a shift and a transition as we're able to advocate for holistic wellness, right? Meditation. being the first. Yeah.
It's the most simple thing you can adopt in your life that's free, that just takes practice and just a tiny bit of time. I mean, I tell people, they say, I can't start with 5 minutes, 5 minutes of quiet. Yeah. You can do that. And they say, oh, but all these ideas, that's fine. Welcome them in. Just invite them in to come and be calm with you. All the ideas, let it in. It's okay that they're there.
So I work with a lot of beginners. And what I always say is, as the thoughts arise, acknowledge them. Don't make a story up about them.
Right. And don't judge them.
Right. Just acknowledge, hi thought, and then let it go. And then the next thought is going to come in. And once again, just acknowledge it. Hello, thought. Don't hang on to it. That's the key.
I see you're there, but
right. And
go
then,
along
and
now.
then it'll just go like a cloud in the sky.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next thought comes, and you're going to continue this practice of letting it go. And eventually what happens is your brain says, she's not going to let me hijack her. Exactly. I guess I'm going to have to let go. And that's the moment the meditation starts.
Exactly.
And that's the hardest part to get to because of the monkey brain.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So meditation is truly a practice of learning how to manage our thoughts.
Right.
Because if we could learn how to manage them within meditation, we could then apply that practice outside of meditation.
Exactly. That's the key.
And that's the power.
Yes.
Right? That's the key right there.
That's the key to living the life that you want to live, to managing everything. Everything gets easier when you can do that.
Yeah.
And that just takes practice and time.
Yeah. You were creating new neural pathways every time you meditate. So it is challenging when you get started, but the more often you do it, the easier it gets, because those neural pathways get stronger and stronger and stronger every time you go to meditation.
Yeah.
So that's the key. So it's just getting over that hump of the monkey mind. And the practice is acknowledging the thoughts and then letting them go. And then the next thought comes. Just let it go. And so forth and so forth. And eventually the mind gives up and they're like, she's not going to let me win.
Well, and then they can coexist and it's in peace. They can coexist because they do. You need to let your ego and your soul coexist. They have to do a dance.
You need both.
Yes, you do. That's how we experience everything we experience. Exactly. So I want to divert a little bit because you had mentioned something to me about something exciting that had recently happened. And I want to hear about that before we go.
The Forbes thing?
Yes. So tell me that story because I don't remember all the details, but I want everybody to hear it.
Oh my goodness.
So this is exciting.
So received an email out of the clear blue and it said, hi, this is Forbes.
Just Forbes.
Right. We're interested in doing a feature story on you. And if you don't mind getting in touch with us at your earliest convenience, that'd be great. And I read it and I'm like, yeah. I really did. I'm like, what kind of scam is this? I really did.
Oh my gosh.
I know. They reached out to me again.
Because you ignored it.
I ignored it.
You really did ignore it.
I really did.
You really thought it was BS.
I thought it was BS. I thought it was a scam. Come on.
Oh my God. Even after everything you've done?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, you're still a self-doubter. See, people, we have to practice because we still have self-doubt. Keep going.
Right? I'm like, there's no way. So I'm like, God, they reached out again. Maybe it's worth a reply email. So I replied back, good evening. Thank you so much for reaching out. I'm sorry about the delay. I said, of course, I would love to be featured in Forbes. However, I can't help but feel that this is some sort of scam.
At least you're honest.
Yes.
You spoke your truth.
Please, I hope you prove otherwise.
I love it. Oh, that's a perfect response.
Most sincerely, my signature.
Yeah.
So the next morning they called me.
Oh my gosh. When your phone rang and they said who it was, were you like, okay.
Yeah. I'm like, gosh darn, it wasn't a scam.
There it is.
They're like, we want to let you know, congratulate you. You are top 10 in your industry.
Oh my gosh, Nicole, congratulations. That is so incredible.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
How did that make you feel?
As soon as I got off the phone, I started crying.
I can't blame you for that. That's amazing.
I'm like tearing up now.
I know, because that's, you are being acknowledged for all the amazing things that you're doing. That's incredible. Take that and just let it sit.
Right.
I mean,
yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah. So I'm still absorbing this. It's going to be coming out around New Year's, coinciding with New Year's resolutions and all that
I
kind
love
of
that.
good stuff, right? And I had the photo shoot the week before last.
Oh my gosh.
Down at the Scottsdale waterfront.
Uh-huh. Oh, I cannot wait to see it.
I'm tearing up because
I believe it. It's amazing.
It's such an amazing.
Well, I said this to you when you told me this. I said to you, Nicole, this is truly a culmination of what you're giving to this world. I mean, it's just, you are doing all the things that is making this happen. You are creating these miracles. You are creating this.
I don't know. I got down on my knees and I really thanked God.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
You have to.
Yeah. And thanks Source, right, for aligning me with my passion and what I really want to do here.
Yeah.
Right, which is to help as many people as I possibly can.
Talk about stepping into purpose.
Yeah.
That's what this is all about. Yeah. I mean, you are really doing it and look what's happening.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that's amazing. That's how this works. The second you say yes, I accept, I'm in, it just starts to happen. Yeah. That's so beautiful.
Yeah.
It's so beautiful. I'm so happy you could share this with everybody. And I know everybody will want to check this out when it comes out as well. So,
I will make sure to get it over to you.
Yes, please do. Please do. What is the best way for people to find you and follow you? Tell us about that.
Yeah. So the best way is probably our website, Nicole Anne, ANNE, yoga.com. However, we have a very, very strong following on Facebook, on Instagram, and we also are on YouTube. During COVID alone, our teachers put out hundreds of videos, which are a fabulous resource for people. So kids yoga, tons of meditation, sound healing, every kind of yoga you could imagine.
Do you subscribe to this or is this free?
It's all free.
These are just free resources, people.
These are free resources for people.
I love it.
There's a lot of views on them. People have watched from all over the world. So we stream live regularly as well. So we have an event going out of the Gilbert Chamber of Commerce monthly where we do a community meditation, which is also streamed live everywhere. Wow. So that's a resource that I want to continue to be able to give back because you could tap in and access it whenever you need it. Mm-hmm. And that's the beauty of it. I will also say, and I didn't mention this, to back up with my son a little bit, he doesn't think I'm necessarily cool, but I do.
He does. I bet you.
No, he does not though. But I want to mention the reason for that is I also have a band.
Shut up.
And I sing the spiritual music of yoga.
You do?
Yes, and this is why my son thinks I'm uncool. He's like, Mom, of all music, really? Really?
Yeah. That's awesome.
So we do a lot with the band.
That's
as well.
So cool.
And that's called Vishuddha Vibe. And
what is it?
Vishuddha
Vibe. Got it.
Which
Love
is the throat chakra.
Right.
Talk about speaking your truth.
Perfect.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
So
love it.
I've been doing that for the last 5 years.
Oh my gosh.
In fact, we're in the process of recording right now and getting our music up on Spotify.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So we're going to be able to find you there too.
Yes, you will.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. See, look at you. Look at everything you're doing. It's so incredible.
So there's a lot online is my point.
Yeah.
But you could put in a request online. Either myself or one of our practitioners will reach out to you. And most of our clients, we do a three-pronged protocol. Everyone needs to meditate. Then we would like everyone to do some sort of body work, whether it's at a massage, envy, and elements, whatever that stone place is, anywhere. Mm-hmm. We also have private massage therapists that could come directly to your home.
Right.
But that's one of the protocols that we really recommend for anybody who's calling. And then the last piece, this is some sort of change work. So maybe life coaching, maybe breath therapy,
Right.
People that are suffering from PTSD and trauma, we could help support them to help with pushing some of that stuck energy out. So that's usually the main reason why people are calling us for one-on-one sessions. However, I should mention we also work with Airbnb property management groups in the area. You may have not known this.
No, interesting. What does that look like?
So we work with all of them, and we go into the Airbnb properties and provide their guests an upgraded vacation experience.
Oh,
Providing things like
In-home
in-home
services.
massage,
Yeah.
in-home facials, Reiki, pool yoga, aqua yoga, aqua
cool.
Pilates, and
Nice.
poolside massage. We have a private holistic chef who does gluten-free and dairy-free for bachelorette yoga parties.
Oh my gosh.
Which are
I'm sure those are gobbled up.
Those are the biggest things.
I bet they are, especially here.
14 of them on a monthly basis. They're very popular in the Scottsdale.
I was going to
Phoenix.
say in this area for sure.
Huge. So
That's cool. What
I know,
a cool
so
service.
I didn't mention that to you, and you should know that's
yeah.
another area that we support.
And that's on your
heavily.
website.
All of our services are listed on our website.
Okay.
All 40-some services.
Yeah.
But everything's custom. So depending on what the client needs or the business needs, we do corporate wellness programs. So we go into the Amazon warehouses and do yoga right there for the employees.
Cool.
So literally, we go anywhere. We bring the Zen to you.
That's perfect. I love it. Oh my gosh. Well, thank you so much for sharing all of your beautiful story with us and your journey, which I love to, we will all be following it because I have a feeling some even bigger things are coming for you, my friend. So keep up the good work. Keep practicing that soul energy because you are really in it. And it's pretty cool to see it unravel in front of you. And thank you all for being here. We hope that you can join us for another one. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and follow us wherever you're listening. You can also find more content and this podcast as well on TammyTuesday.com. And we will catch you next time in love and light. Peace out.